So welcome to the second of our Friday at 5. And I'm really pleased that I've got some very good friends of mine with me here. I first like to introduce you to Jamie, who is going to lead the session talking to these two good friends of mine, who are Paul and Sally Trepte. It's a great pleasure to see you both here, Paul and Sally.
Thank you.
And I'm going to hand you over to Jamie now.
Hello, both of you. Lovely to see you.
And you, Jamie.
How are you both finding lockdown at the moment? Is it full of excitement?
We haven't killed each other yet.
That's a good start. Yet
We're
a bit worried.
We're both very occupied with the notion of moving house very soon. So very soon there'll be a great deal to do, even though it's in lockdown. People are still allowed to move house, and that's what we're going to do. We're going over to Worcester, where Sally and I met a few years ago.
Very nice. Do you think you're going to miss Ely? The big question.
There's a lot of people we shall miss in Ely, and I shall certainly miss the inside of the cathedral a lot. But I'm looking forward to having some rolling countryside and some hills.
Definitely be a change from lovely hilly Ely.
And
Absolutely.
I would add to that it's not about leaving Ely, it's about going to Worcester. If you see the difference.
For me, it's about returning home, because it's where I come from, and I feel very rooted there.
Very nice. Now, I've got a question. About 2 years ago, we sang a very special song to both of you at a very special event. Do you remember what the event was?
Well, I'll kick off. Yes, we both remember it very well. And the song was Isn't She Lovely, Stevie Wonder, which is a song which has been with us for almost the entire time that we've been together. Would you like to know how that came about? I can tell you, if you like, what happened at the beginning of our acquaintance.
I definitely would love to know.
Well, I wasn't really very aware when I was being brought up of pop of any kind. And it really wasn't until I got to university that I began to really have the opportunity to listen to something other than classical music. And I remember being introduced to the various albums of Stevie Wonder. First song I got to know was Superstition, which is still a great favourite of mine. It's not on the same album as Isn't She Lovely? And then I went on and bought the album Songs in the Key of Life. And immediately, in terms of any appreciation of that kind of music, I immediately thought that this was something really, really special. It's got fantastic rhythm, it's got fantastic chord progressions, and the songs are from the heart. And that, I think, is what I loved about that song. And I listened to it many, many times, the whole album many times in my little room as an undergraduate, and often with other people. And when Sally and I did get together after I'd left university, and we were together in Worcester, in order, I suppose, to show her that I wasn't all just classical music, I did on one occasion say, hey, listen to this one. I want you to listen to the kind of pop music that I like. And I think that the first song that I chose from that album was Isn't She Lovely? And from that moment on, I think Sally joined me with great love and certainly appreciation, and I think eventually a love of that song. So I still don't listen very much to a great deal of popular music, but more certainly, than I used to do, and certainly it's been a very, very special song. So that's how it all began. It was a kind of, and then when we listened to it together, I remember buying Sally the album for her own possession. That was before we were married. So we still got 2 copies of the album, and I've thrown a lot of my vinyl away, which is a great shame, because now it's very it's the in thing to listen to vinyl again. But we've still got 2 copies of the Stevie Wonder album, so we still enjoy it from time to time. That's how it began, but there's a lot more to it than that, and I think I'm going to ask Sally if she'd like to take over and say what happened a little bit, well, many years after that, really.
Is that okay, Jamie?
Yeah, by all means.
Okay, so I have very vivid memories of sitting in the sitting room in the house where Paul lived in Worcester, the assistant organist's house as it was then, 9 College Precincts. I remember vividly Paul introducing me to Isn't She Lovely and Stevie Wonder. And yes, and I grew to love it, but it became, after we were married, we decided that, yeah, we would like to have, you know, start a family. To cut a long story short, that took a very long time, because eventually it was discovered that I had endometriosis. There's been a lot in the press about endometriosis recently, but it was an unknown thing in those days. So that was dealt with, and very soon afterwards, Sarah came and joined us. And the very fact that this was a little girl as well, and she couldn't have been a more wanted baby by both of us, and she was lovely. So so the song began to take on a different meaning for us, and a very important one, because, you know, every time I looked at her, initially I thought, isn't she lovely? So and then of course we've now got Poppy, who's also a little girl and lovely, and definitely full of character. So it's sort of it's been alongside us, the song, all through our almost 42 years of marriage, plus 3 years before that. So yeah.
Then shall I do the last bit?
Yeah.
Because there's a kind of coda then to that. Then much later on in our lives, we got to the stage eventually where it was the time for me to decide to leave as director of music from Ely, and that's now nearly 2 years ago. And lots of events happened, and one of them was a gathering, and I think it was when I was being interviewed about music that I'd enjoyed, and sort of This Is Your Life kind of.
No, it was an evening with Paul Trepte.
That was what it was called, yes.
Yeah.
It was Vicky Johnson led that, and there was some music included in that, and we knew that we'd managed to secure a visit from the Barbers. And all I knew at this point was that the Barbers were going to make an appearance. We didn't know what they were going to sing, but I do remember Sally saying, "You're going to enjoy the Barbers tonight," as if I didn't always enjoy them. I mean, we can say a bit more about what the Barbers have meant to us a little bit later, but staying specifically on this event, I didn't know what was going to be sung. And so just as I'd given the song to Sally as a kind of present early on in our time together, so she gave me this as a present as I left Ely, because then that was when we had this special arrangement made, I think, by somebody called North, is my understanding. And it's not easy to arrange that kind of stuff when that kind of music where there's so much going on, but I thought it was it's a long time since I've heard it. But my memory is that it was very well done, very well performed, and very well arranged indeed. So that kind of brought an association with that song for us into a complete circle, right from the beginning of our time together, right to where we are now, more or less.
And then, of course, you sang it at our Ruby wedding too, as well, which was
right, yeah.
very special.
Requested by your daughter, who is very special too. Do you think we did a good job of the song? Just so we know.
Well, I just said you're not listening, Jay.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very. Yeah, you always do a good job providing norths out there in the front, looking to you. You all realise, you KingsBarbers, that the continuity factor has been that it's all been about Peter North's vision and what he wants to do. And for me, I've always loved listening to the Barbers because there's a special feeling of warmth for me as I just look at who's up there singing. It's going to be different in a few years' time because, well, there are quite a few years to go, I suppose, actually, aren't there, before it gets to a stage when I shall hear the Barbers and think, I don't know that boy there. But for the time that I've known the Barbers, and even today, most of the people up there I recognise very well, and many of them I remember as young choristers, including all the stuff that they did well, and including all the bad things and naughty things that they got up to, Jamie.
Nice.
And all kinds of memories come swimming back, and so my mind sort of goes out tangentially into all of that, and lots of memories come back for me. So it's always a great joy for us to listen to the KingsBarbers. I think it's a very, very special part of what King's School's got to offer, and it's always of a high standard, and it's always interesting to watch how things come together and get better as the year goes through. How on earth you're managing to survive and make things work still in these nasty 2 years that we seem to be lumbered with at the moment during lockdown after lockdown, I don't know, but I am aware that some good work has been done. But I don't think I would have had the patience that Peter North has obviously got to knit things together and write his arrangements and still bring them to life. So I'm just full of admiration. I think Sally will probably echo that.
Well, yeah, completely. I always love hearing the Barbers. Absolutely love it, and it's as Paul said, it means an enormous amount to us to be able to see people like you grow and develop and still enjoy their singing, but in a different way, which is completely as it should be. And there's nothing we like more than seeing and meeting up with and speaking to young people who have been choristers. It's such an it's been our life, really. And so, for people to like you to continue to keep in touch, it's wonderful.
So you asked earlier, Jamie, what we were going to miss when we left Ely, and I think Sally answered most of that. But one of the things we'll definitely miss is just being around in Ely and bumping into people in the street, bumping into the young faces, and remembering who they are. And there are a lot of people that we know in Worcester, but we're not going to be bumping very much into choristers who I was involved with, because that was right at the beginning of my life, and I think most of them will have forgotten about me by now in Worcester. Whereas in Ely, you just bump into people, and one of the great pleasures is that they're always so personable and apparently pleased to see us.
Definitely pleased to see you. I can definitely say that we're all gonna miss seeing you around, because you've been a great support to all the Barbers and choristers right through. Yeah, hope to keep in touch.
So Sarah, it's lovely to see you. Thank you for dropping in to see us. I know you've just finished work. It's great that you found the time, so thank you.
You are welcome. Very nice to drop in.
My chair is making a lot of noise. I'm sorry about this. Sarah, can I just ask you a couple of questions? Because we've heard now from your mum and dad about the song itself and how much it means to them. Can you remember, did they ever sing it to you?
Yeah, it's not something that I can remember happening, but I'm very prepared to be told that I'm wrong about that.
Is anybody going to tell us she's wrong?
Well, you certainly heard it a number of times, but it would have been with the record on.
Yeah, that's true. I can remember it being played, but I don't remember either of you specifically singing it to me.
Because it lies very well in my vocal range, you know.
Do you want
As
to
all
give us
songs do.
an idea?
Huh?
Do you want to give us an idea? Thank you. That's memorable.
Don't put that. Don't let anybody hear that bit.
I don't know. So, and also Sarah, so we've just heard from your mum and dad about the songs and what they mean to them, and for you, obviously, you've now got a little girl, Poppy. How old is Poppy?
So she's just 19 months.
19 months. So do you have a song? I'm just thinking of Barbers arrangements and things like that for the future, you see. So do you have a song or a couple of songs that you sing to her?
We sing lots of songs to her, but I'm not sure that there's anything, well, there's nothing that kind of stands out in the same way as mum and dad having that song at the moment, but we sing Poppy various nursery rhymes. And as mum sung earlier, one of them is row, row, row your boat. And when you get to the end line where it says, if you see a crocodile, don't forget to scream, she screams. We get a little scream out of her. Anything to do with Old MacDonald had a farm. She's just starting to learn her animals. So she'll kind of, we've got cat, cow, dog and frog at the moment. All apart from the cow are animals which appear in her favourite TV programme, which is Room on the Broom on iPlayer.
Room on the Broom.
Room on the Broom. It's a lovely little animated piece on BBC iPlayer, which he watches every night before bed.
Is this something that we should be watching?
I mean, I would say, yeah, it's great. It is actually a lovely little story about a witch who constantly takes in animals, much to the disgust of her cat, because the cat gets bumped further and further down the broom.
Oh, right. Now I understand Room on the Broom.
Yeah.
And Poppy likes that one.
She loves that one, yeah.
Well,
We inherited our love for cats.
Go on, Paul.
I can remember singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm to Sarah when she was about the same age as Poppy and a bit older, and the refrain always used, not the refrain, but the next thing always used to be, "Again, Daddy, can we have farm?"
So hang on, Paul, are you telling me that we actually got the wrong song? We should actually have done Old MacDonald Had a Farm.
No, I'm not telling you that.
So I've actually got someone just here now that I can introduce you to. Poppy, can you say hi? Say hi. Say hello.
Hello, Poppy. It's lovely to see you.
Yeah, should we get your pens out? These are her. She likes to find the red. What have we got in there? What have you got? Is that red? Yeah, red.
Lovely. Thank you, Poppy. That's really nice. Thank you very much, Sarah.
All right.
Fantastic. It's been lovely to see you all. So I think that probably all that's left is for us to hear the song. We've got various recordings of it, and you will have seen the video that Sally sent to me earlier in the week. And it's also, I'm very happy to say, it's on Spotify. And where else is it, Jamie?
It's on everything that has music. It's on Deezer, Apple Music, everything.
Everything.
If you want it, it's out there.
And of course, with all the things that we do, the money that we raise from Spotify or Apple or anywhere else is going to the orphanage in Goa. So we hope very much that you enjoy listening to it. And I'd like to say thank you to Sally, to Paul, to Sarah, and to Jamie for doing a great job. And it's been really good to see you all. And
Can I just ask a question?
yeah.
I thought you said that the point of getting Sarah here was that she was supposed to do a dance during the performance of the?
No chance.
Oh.
It's an
No chance.
or the only way she would do a dance is if you probably showed her first.
Oh, I've got no problem with that. I'll do you a dance. If that's what you really.
Fantastic. Anyway, everybody, I think we need to stop now.
Yeah.
So I'll see you soon. Okay, thank you very much.